Hey, how's it going? It's Johnny5. Recently I towed with my Toyota Hilux, the 72, with the Tesla motor in it, and it did really well, but I'm at the point now with that truck to where it has everything I need except the range. And I thought about putting a bigger battery pack in it. I thought about putting another pack in it in the front and get it, up to maybe 70 kilowatt hours. But still, it's like one of these things where it's like, it's just not going to do what I really want it to do. I want to be able to get in it, and if it's got like 50% battery, just know I can click on something and be like, okay, screw it, we're just going to drive on fuel for now and get where I need to go. It's kind of more of like a backup for the truck. So in the past, I had a BMW i3 with a range extender, and that was by far the best car I've ever had. It did everything that I wanted it to. I was able to turn the generator on whenever I wanted to, and it was that scenario where it's like, oh, I only have 50% battery or whatever, and I was able to just click a button and fire that thing up and go down to San Diego or wherever I needed to go. I even took it out to Las Vegas. So I want that option with the Hilux, but yeah, I don't want to limit myself with just a little bit more battery. And I really don't like waiting at charge stations. I'm sorry. I mean, I've been driving EVs for 12 years now, and my background is off-road and gas cars and building engines and turbocharged stuff and all that stuff. But now I'm combining the two and making the best case scenario, I think, for both worlds. So how am I going to do this? Well, I was thinking, okay, where the thing's going to be needed most is obviously on the highway. And when I'm on the highway, I'm pulling roughly 17 to 25 kilowatts continuous. So probably call it 20 kilowatts continuous, somewhere around there is where my truck is pulling. With that in mind, I need to, if I want to keep going forever, then I need to make 20 kilowatts. But in most cases, I'm not going to be able to do that unless I really hop up a little engine, because 20 kilowatts is about, I think 26, 27 horsepower, something like that. So I need a juicy little engine, and yes, little, because I need to stuff it in there somewhere. I have this motor right here in front of me because this is a Tesla Model 3 front motor. It's an induction motor. It's really tiny. I want to use this as my generator. So I need to be able to do that. For one, I need to make an adapter that bolts this bolt ring and captures this onto the crankshaft of the engine, whatever engine I'm using. And then it needs to hold this to the engine and center locate that. And so there's obviously a ton of ways to do that. So that's the first thing I need to do, is make an adapter for this. And at first, I was actually thinking about using one of these guys, the Predator, the almighty Predator engine. But I opted out from this because although this has a good ecosystem, so what I mean by that is if I blow this thing up in the middle of I don't know, Phoenix somewhere, and I need another one, I can get another one. But this thing, I think it makes around, I think it was like 8 or 12 horsepower, somewhere around there. I know it was around 6 kilowatts that I could produce from this engine. And I was like, that's just not enough. And this engine wasn't designed to be wide open the whole time doing that power. So, yeah. And even if it was, it's just too damn small. So, I'll use it on a go-kart or something. So what I am gonna do, and I don't have it yet, I'm gonna pick up a Kubota 3-cylinder diesel engine. And I actually have always wanted a diesel engine from the get-go, because my thing is having gasoline next to 400 volts just it's kind of gnarly sounding to me. And I know that diesel fuel is, it takes a lot more to ignite it. And I was looking at the Kubota D722 engine because there's a lot of them. And I can pick one up here locally for a pretty good price. So that's what I'm going to go for. It's a 14.9 kilowatt engine, and that's what it produces. So I'm sure after going through all this, through the inverter, oh yeah, I'll talk about that in a second, the inverter. But going through all that, I'll probably have like a 10 to 15% loss from the engine to the electricity going to the battery. So yeah, probably about 13 and a half, 14 kilowatts that I'll get from this thing. Not 20, but what it does is it buffers the amount of energy that I'm pulling. So now instead of pulling 20 kilowatts from my battery, or kilowatt hours from my battery pack every hour, I'm pulling only 5, like 3 to 5. So what that really does is it's literally range extending the battery pack, because now I'm going from 20 kilowatt hours to 3 to 5, and now my 30 kilowatt hour pack is stretched out 4 to 5 hours of drive time. So it's still like, I mean, that's a long freaking time. That's like 400 miles or something. I don't know. Basically to Vegas. And the cool thing is if I need it to charge back up, I just pull over and stop and wait for it for a few minutes. So there's that too. The other thing is too, is the way that this is going to run. I could just go get a generator and stick it in there, but sort of. But the thing is all generators are generating 220 volt, 110 volt power, you know, AC. And that limits me because it's creating AC. Now I have to invert that, or you know, straighten that voltage out and make it 400 volts DC and step it up and all that. And there's just a lot of loss between going from AC through my charger, basically, my onboard charger, and then to the battery pack, where I want a generator that directly makes 400 volts DC right from it, right to the battery pack. There's no inversion, nothing going on. It's just DC. So this is a 400 volt motor. These obviously come with an inverter that is on the Tesla motor, but those are impossible to deal with. So what I'm going to get is a Kelly controller, which I'm fond of and love those guys because I have them on everything, like golf carts and e-bikes and all that stuff. But now they make a 400 volt controller, motor controller, that's for induction motors. And since all the thing's going to be doing is basically regenning from the engine, I'm going to be using that to act as, it's going to be acting like it's regenning the entire time. So that's going to be kind of a neat setup. So I'm going to have that little Kelly controller. I think it's 80 amp continuous at 360 volts. So it's way over what I'm going to be doing. So it should be running pretty cool doing this. But I'm going to let that engine just constantly regen into the battery pack. And what's cool about it too is I can lose a little bit of weight on the diesel engine, because I think I can take the hopefully I can take the flywheel off and treat this as a flywheel, because it's pretty damn heavy, for one, so that's some weight. But two, I could take the starter system off and the alternator, obviously, off the Kubota, because that's one big starter. So because I have a controller, I can use that controller, ramp it up to like say 500 RPM, start the engine, and then do like a 0 throttle input, and then start letting it regen after the engine's warmed up. So that's how I plan to do it. See how it goes. So that's it for this video. Next video, I'm gonna go pick up this Kubota engine and start adapting it, doing the adapter, start doing the coupler to the engine, and then get a controller on the way and start working on that. So that's going to be the next episode. I'm probably going to have to rebuild the engine, so I'll go through all that just to make sure that it's fresh and ready to go. So thanks for watching. Hope this is entertaining. And I hope this is kind of inspiring, because I think it's, I don't know, pretty cool. So anyway, that's it. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.